Yavatuhu pani enchamukini kayo kashtu.
What comes after death is resurrection. In a great way, this sign, the Keej, the Manik, the Masatl, is the sign of resurrection. In the three languages, Keej, Manik, Masatl, it means deer. There's not many changes in the symbol as far or the animal it's related to, or the animal that is used as an archetype for this sign. If we see the Nahuals down here, it's still deer too. A coati, this I don't know if you know the coati, is this mammal that has a long snout. He can stand up on the hind legs and grab things. Very smart animal and very powerful animal. Very dangerous animal, in fact, for anyone trying to hunt it. And so what is this? So let's begin. Let's begin with like I've been doing with the process of the universe. So we are in the second section, second session, I wanted to say, round of the elements. So this is going to be the action of this round of snake death, and we're coming into deer. So it's an action realm. I have a good time describing a lot of this sign, appreciating this sign, relating to this sign. It's really easy for me, but trying to understand what part of that realm of action, remember that water signs in this essential orientation to the west is our action signs, where this intention and spirit then manifest and they take that action, where this action happens. And we've seen that. We went through the Akabal, which is the night, which we can say is the dream realm. We're going to go and there. I've spoken about the Bats, which is time and space, which is this time and space realm. I've spoken about the eagle being the realm of vision. But what is the realm of Keej? What is this realm? So trying to channel further right now, I'm kind of being told about this realm where sacred geometry occurs, where the chakras are located, this kind of field that is where spirit is coming into being, and it's yet not the rawest of it, of the actions, but not also a very developed action either, like time and space. So here it's kind of still like essential, a realm, but I do have a hard time describing it in technical ways, I guess. So let's go into the Kaba wheel, and that will help. Kaba wheel, the sign, the glyph. That's going to help maybe guide me to describe this. So I really like the glyph here. It's one of the prettiest ones. Anybody that sees this, oh, I really like that one. They're all fans of this glyph, which is a hand. This is the Maya version. So it's a hand. And what I do is you want to draw like the thumb here. And then if you do this, it kind of creates the other fingers. And then there's kind of like I don't know exactly what this would be. Energy. If you want to add the nails, and if you want to add a different finger, back there. So it's a hand that is kind of grasping. So that concept of grabbing and grasping is key here. So death is that process where this snake died, right? And it changed and it went into a realm and almost like disappeared. So then what would be next is to reappear, right? It would be to continue. How do you continue? Is when you actually grasp that and you bring it down back to earth and to life, to these four elements. So this is the sign that represents the four elements. This is the sign of the four elements. This is the mediator of the four elements. That's a key thing to remember for this sign. The mediator of the four elements is this sign. So one more thing I want to... So when you're doing this hand, I always kind of see something like this, right? Like this symbol. So somehow this is kind of like to me, and I know this is not going to be the best way to describe this, and I will get better in describing it decades later. It's kind of the energy coming back into, or the spirit maybe, the codes, that information, that wisdom that was created by death, that is coming back into the living world, and then is grasping our attention, and in a way it's healing us. And this is the other thing I internally visualize. So this is kind of like a sacred geometry symbol, like a triangle, but with this like coming from outside and creating and bringing it here. And somehow I see this in the hand without ever having seen this. Oh, I never seen actually seen this before, but in my experiments, in my meditations, in all the work I've done through the years before with the Cholquij, with this calendar, I've come to kind of visualize this other finger and the position that the hand has in this Kabat wheel, as this sign is grasping this magical realm that is bringing back the information from the dead into this world. And hence, it's enhancing, it's balancing, that's a key word. So, when I think about what is spirituality, or what do we seek when we seek spirituality? I mean, there's so many ways to describe. Spirituality could just be understanding that there are spirits and developing maybe some way of communication with them. That's by no means what religions teach as spirituality. But when I try to see what are people looking for in spirit, when they look for spirituality, what they're kind of really looking for is this sign. They're looking for balance, like this knowledge of balance. So they're looking to grasp the invisible. They're looking to grasp, because the invisible is what makes the visible. So everything that we see here and we experience, that death is coding is life, right? And let me get into the questions here. The Bible says that the dead know nothing, so in Christianity it is dealt with as the final and nothing more can come from it. Although with Jesus died, the dead were seen walking the streets of Jerusalem. When you say wisdom created by death, is that with us still in this dimension, or with the dead themselves, or both? To get a good answer to those kind of questions, I need time. And I'm sorry if I can't do that right now, but I'll take a time to answer later. Because if I spit out something, it's going to be wrong. And I don't want to spit out something. And I don't want to take time from Keej here. I barely have enough time for it. So, but it's all related to this. It is all related to this. And I guess understanding death. So what are we doing right now? We are gathering. Why are we gathering? We are gathering because we're seeking to understand better. We're trying to grasp something. I'm just a facilitator. I'm just sharing what I've learned. And by no means I'm the source of the information. I'm just replicating it, hopefully in a better way, hopefully giving more insight, but still just replicating that information. But then I have another role. I'm creating this gathering. And that's the key with Keej here, is the gathering of the 4 elements, the 4 directions of everything. And I'm going to go back here into the drawing board. Let's have some fun with the drawing board. So you have the 4 elements. And I actually lived this ritual once in the desert. So each element, each has kind of like a feeling, a content, an information. And they're all going like this, right? So this Keej goes into the center and says, hey guys, why don't we come together and gather and bring it all here? And then he's going to mediate, and he's going to say, you're being too much of this, you're being too much of this, you need to take more here, you need to take less here. He's going to balance. It's kind of like if you ask yourself, well, is there a sign in the middle? Is there a 5th element? This is it. This is the sign of the 5th element. And there's actually even names and symbols for that in Maya. And there's even a veintena, 20-day month, which is called Yashkin. Yashkin, the green sun. Sometimes it's also the Yashkan, the green snake. The green sun or the green snake is that entity that is placed in the middle of the elements and becomes a mediator between the elements, and it balances the elements. Here in the signs, we are bound by the code of 1320, so that also needs to be described somewhere inside the 20 signs, right? And where would that be described is here. Healer. So this sign, this is the sign of the healer. Let's bring it down and simple, quick and easy. Healer. This is the sign of the healer. This is the day of healing. So when this day comes about, we are going to experience healing. We are going to want to honor this energy in this day and practice some type of situation, some type of thing where we heal. We correct something, we balance something. And it's considered by the Keej elders the best sign of all. This is by far considered the best sign of all the signs, the favorite sign. Even though I don't play favorites, I try to honor them all equally. In my living by the days, I do find this being one of the most amazing days, peaceful, reconnecting day, a day that brings about healing, that brings about good things. I cannot remember a bad day of Keej. It's a good day. It's amazing. It's the best day out of the 20 days. The best day. And so the people are like that too. People are the best people of this sign. People of this sign are very healing. They're very balanced. They have all the 4 elements. So a person of this sign it's going to have willpower and intention. But it's not going to be like the snake where it can be he's not going to fall into chasing stupid pleasures or getting stuck by the addiction of following, of chasing his own intentions. Because he's going to mature and he's going to have a lot of spirit. He's going to have a lot of wisdom, a lot of connection with the wisdom of the spirits. But then he's not going to be stuck there, and he's going to understand that what really matters is how we apply that wisdom practically. So he's going to come down into the earth. He's going to be very earth-oriented. He's going to be very practical-oriented. And he's going to focus on what really makes a difference. Not just speaking, and not just saying, and not just writing or making philosophy, or no. They're going to want to build something. They're going to want to get involved in construction, in using their bodies, in very earthly things, right? So there's a lot of wisdom about that, about being like the deer, about do you want to transcend the biggest fears, the biggest doubts in yourself? Go wash the dishes. Do you want to heal your world? Go wash the dishes. You see, there's, from other maybe ideas of spirituality, and this idea of, and I wrote today about the power of stupidity and how money traps us in that idea that if you have more of it, you're better. That draws us, when you're making a lot of money, your logic is, I'm not going to do the dishes, and I'm not going to sweep my house. Somebody else is going to do that, because that time I would spend doing that, I can spend it doing something else that's going to make me a lot of more money. I need to make more money. Let somebody else do that. So he's going to be taking something away from his life that is crucial to actually healing and growing and bringing into earth all that spirit. So you would be amazed, and here's a key here. What is the role of the shaman, according to me? The role of the shaman, according to me, there's many roles, but if you want to talk about one thing that is kind of forgotten, is sweeping. And this is ancestral wisdom from Mesoamerica. Because sweeping the temples, sweeping the homes, that was a very spiritual thing, and it was done. Who did the priests in those huge pyramids? have somebody else do the cleaning for them? The role of the priest was keeping the temple nice and clean. That was a big part of his work, was actually cleaning things. Chop wood, carry water. That, if you take that from your life, you're gonna find imbalance. And you cannot become a huge spiritual, enlightened Jesus Christ avatar, whatever you want to reach, the godly Lord, Creator, Hiliri, if you think that that is below you, or that you want to get to a point where that will be below you. So this invites you to really, really, really rethink many things about life, about how you perceive, where the path of growing to a more healthy, profound spiritual life is going to take you. Okay? Nature is one of the keys. Nature. And we have bodies, and keeping the bodies, fulfilling the purpose of the body is necessary to keep the body healthy. Right? So you need to do so many things. And of course, if we're stuck like I am right now in a chair because what I'm doing here, then I am going to have to compensate. And even if you are living in nature and you're a lot more healthier because you're doing all these physical tasks and you're keeping your body alive and you're having ways to soothe the soul that we're replacing right now, and not in a wrong way, I think, with things like cannabis. If you have that, even then you will need a little bit of gathering and of other medicines and of other movements, exercises, therapies, aligning the chakras, aligning the power centers, working with the different channels of energy through the body. So all that wisdom of everything I just mentioned is contained in this sign. This is the expert on everything about that. This is the sign that will become proficient in that kind of, so that's kind of its destiny too, right? And that's one of the elements, that, or the perspectives on healing. The other thing that this sign is really good at or important for, and the persons of this sign, is bringing about the gathering. And this is another thing that we were taught from religions, that of course we want to make a sacred space at some point when we're doing a ritual where we just want to kind of connect, respect, listen, etc. But then after that, we can party and drink, and that is not dirty or lesser, rather it's necessary. So this sign, people of this sign will have a lot of that too. And that's where they are balanced. And that's where they're very earthly bound, very earthly. And that's one of the other things that you're going to notice in people that are really kind of walking a balanced path in spirituality and are not just trying to sell you stuff and look like, oh, I'm just so above everybody. That's why you look up to me and you come take my teachings, which cost thousands of dollars. And then I keep an impeccable, you're never going to see me drinking because you're going to associate that with sin, because then, and there's no congruence in that. There's no earthliness in that. You want to see somebody that is healing or healer, you want to see him being a human. You want to see him having fun. You want to see him having sex. You want to see him having a drink sometimes. So people of this sign have that balance, right? So by no means are you going to find a deer that is into what I call purismo, purism, of associating spirituality with a prolonged or indefinite or definite search for purity and abstinence, right? Sure, you can get into that stage maybe, but all of your life and faking it till you make it, that doesn't work for me. To me, let's keep it real. Let's keep it down to earth. Spirit is down too. It's not just sky, it's also earth, and it's also center, right? So you have to have a good time. You have to, and then if we go into the discussion about drinks, plants, if you want to call them, I hate the word drugs, but if you want to go into that, there are a fundamental part of Mesoamerican spirituality, shamanism. And here comes the key for the sign, the tobacco plant. Tobacco plant is almost like the deer plant. So tobacco is like the deer plant. Tobacco is really, really important in Mesoamerican culture. And it's from all the way north to all the way down into South America. Very, very present in all cultures. It's very natural, it's wild, it grows wild in the Amazon as well as in central North American forests and tropical forests in North America. It grows wild. And in fact, it's very interesting. If you go out into the forest, you won't find tobacco. It doesn't grow in the forest. Where does it grow, you might ask? Okay, how do I find it? Well, if you want to find tobacco in the rainforest, what you have to do is you have to build a home. You build your home, and before a year goes by, a tobacco plant will grow in front of your door. How magical is that? That's how it likes to grow. That's how close of a relationship it has to mankind, and it speaks of all this wisdom about the relations of man and plants, and man and the earth and the animals. That is not taught really by Buddhism, is not taught by many other lineages. Remember that if we look, this is neat, and I think this is from the Diné. I'm not sure exactly from people from the north. That speaks about the four races of mankind. So there's a fire, air, water, and earth race, and fire, air, water, and earth continents. So the white Europeans, maybe it even includes Middle East, is the fire people. And so that's why we see them very fiery, and they have a strong, incredibly strong willpower, but then they burn the world, right? You have, and then the Avatar cartoons are very depicting of this. Then you have the water. So who's the water people? Water people are the black people. So water people are just flowing. They're just flowing, right? And it's a very powerful culture, and it's the mother culture, I would even estimate. Then who's the air people? The air people are the Asians that develop the better codes, the best arts, the best technologies. I mean, technology, we think they're developed by Europeans, but no, Europeans just kind of stole it from Asians. and from everyone. So it was really Asians, or the Asia, or the air people, the air race, if you want to call it. I don't like the word race because I don't think they're racist as such. They're just like traits. But if you want to see the air people are the bringers of thought, of codes, of unmaterial beauty, of skyward knowledge. And who is the earth people? Well, it's us, the Americans, North and South Americans. Then I guess if you go technical, then who are the, because it would be kind of another people, maybe, the oceanic people, because there are like big differences. But as far as I go with that story, that's as I know it. Those four only elements and those four only races or peoples. So from that, the Americans, we are the earth element. We are the earth people. And from this course, from this sign even, we get the knowledge that the earth is a reunion of the four elements. The earth element is simply the joining of the other three, the four elements. So what do we see here? We see very grounded people, and with a very profound knowledge on the visible, on the earth things, a really profound knowledge about the elements, but then about animals, about plants, about geology, geography, the spirits of the earth, the spirits of the mountains, the spirits of the rivers, etc., etc. And at the same time, it's very grounded like. It's not like, it's not, it's real, and it's visible, and it's natural. And that's one way to see the earth element as something that is grounded, something that is real. It's not just words outside. It's not just what you say, it's what you do, right? You show it. And then, of course, it includes everything that you see in earth and in nature. And all that is part of the spirit and of the sacred and even of the sky, right? So death, violence, killing, rotting, extreme states, deep states, the evil, all of that is part of this earth, right? Darkness, shadows. And you have that in balance. You're not negating that. You're learning, you're incorporating that, you're embracing that. And this is a sign that represents all that bringing about. So that's one of the other things about people. And here Antoinette says, yeah, my friend, she knows how to have a good time. So you'll see that they actually have that role in life. They have that destiny. People of this sign have the role of actually making the party, like bringing it. That's their mission. If you're a deer, and if I can tell you what your mission is you need to make a party. You need to make the gathering. Maybe a better word is a gathering. And it leaves the teaching, the very important teaching of how important it is to have gatherings and how important it is to come into a sacred space. And this is what we are just so much missing right now. I mean, we're seeing a world that is becoming, so, we're doing this from that world right now, kind of everyone's in their own space, right? In their own device, right? And it's okay for now. Okay, this is where we are. Here we are. But we want to actually find a way to have physical gatherings and come together. And in your path, that's why it's so important to make ceremonies. because and to celebrate different events in time and different rituals. And that's what, if you see native North and South American rituals, very few of them are actually things you do by yourself, right? And I know many of you are into all these magical practices and magical teachings that are taught. I see a lot of them be kind of do-it-yourself kind of things. And of course, we need that balance. We need that part of things that you do by yourself. But then here, I must mention the importance of the rituals, of the gatherings, of the ceremonies that are celebrated by bringing people together. And another thing that I observed recently, or that manifested itself recently in this Tihaj Trecena, which is a big challenge, is how we need to actually sit down with our loved ones, create a sacred space, and speak our things, and speak outside of the regular feeling, outside of the life things of what we say when we are laughing, of what we say when we're having sex, of what we say when we are mad, what we say when we are hurried. You know, when we're living our regular lives, we're not in that space. I mean, it has to be. It is also a sacred space, and one of the teachings from the elders is make your whole life a sacred space. But within that, you also need to sometimes open an even more sacred space where you allow yourself to. You're not going to be paying attention to anything else, or you're just going to open up. God, don't we need to just open up? Don't we need to just join with somebody else, open up to somebody else, have somebody else see us, hear us, touch us, right? We all want that and need that so much. And this day invites that. And people of this sign, if, big if here, if they connect with the knowledge, the Keme knowledge, the death knowledge of this, the ancestral knowledge of this, then they will understand how they are key players in making this healing happen, and how they can actually become very powerful healers that come and can touch your soul, can touch your body, can touch and align your chakras, and align your power centers, align your energy centers, and touch that. There's some elders that say, oh, we don't, chakras is our stupid stuff from other cultures, is not native. Come on, it's just different names, because there is muyu in Quechua, there is holes. I mean, the word is hole, but you do have energetic holes. There are muyus in the body. You do have chakras, and you can align things, and you can work with things that are not just the physical body, or what apparently is the physical body, because then those chakras are too part of the physical body. There is no division between the physical and non-physical, right? But then if they can do that, because coming to a friend of mine, one of my dearest friends, dear as the friends, he's a deer. And he's very balanced, extremely smart, extremely independent, extremely sovereign person, extremely down to earth, extremely smart. But there's this little thing in him that, I guess because he's grown all his life living with other people that are hippies, in the sense of they do things informally, but to him, a hippie is, because you have to put into context the Mexican hippie, where it's like in Mexico, you can be alternative if you have the privilege, right? You can do things in another way that are not the traditional way, if you can, right? The system here does kind of force you into, there is not that many opportunities. So being alternative is associated with privilege. And sometimes that makes it so that it just seems easy, and that these hippies are kind of like just cheesy made, right? They're alternative, but in a cheesy way. So this friend of mine sees that a lot. And of course, it sounds judgmental, and I'm not trying to judge. I'm just trying to describe him and how he is a deer, and how he perceives, and how he then associates what he's seen in other people. And I understand, and I'm not judging. Everybody's in a path, and nobody's perfect. And we're all going to be trying to kind of get somewhere, and we might reveal incongruences in what we say and what we do. So we might seem a little fakish, or a little incongruent, or a little uncommitted, or associating things that are really not, or not finding the real actual alternative, and just replicating an archetype, a buy and apply consumption model, right? We're just kind of following another trend, right? And so he sees that a lot in people, that he's surrounded, of course, by a lot of those people. And he's associated that with the symbolic, spiritual, ancestral world. So he's kind of shut down that door. He's shut off that door. And he does not want to participate. And if you invite him to a ritual, he's like, no, I don't want to go. And if you hear him speak, he'll say with a lot of wisdom, he'll say, dude, you're trying to do this, I'm going to connect with the higher dimensions, and you're doing this ritual, and he is super strongly critical about the people that will go into long fasts and different, ceremonies. What are they? I don't have the name for them. These people that practice the silence retreats, that they go into like prolonged 10, 20 day or 12, I don't know how many days retreats, where they all just keep silent. And I think that's a good thing, but I do see how, I understand his criticism, where he says they can't even really connect to you honestly. They can't even really like open up to you, and say what they really feel are. They can't get away from that mask. They can't take off the mask. And they want to be reaching these higher states of consciousness, and they can't even just be humans. They can't just be grounded. So I understand that part of him. And that's why I say and that's for all the signs. Remember, your destiny will be, if you accomplish your destiny, if you understand, I don't want to say accept, but maybe, accept your destiny, right? If you actually understand. And for this sign is creating a gathering and bringing about the elements. And I guess my friend would be kind of missing maybe the air element. He would be kind of, he would need to balance more into opening to all the wisdom that the symbols, that the ceremonies, they are important. They do work. They are part of the visible. So that's what happens with them. And it's a good example of something that can happen with the Keej sign. So we have a few more minutes. I guess I've spoken plenty. Oh, very important thing. So for all the signs, the animal is a very big clue to the behavior of the person and of the symbol. So, and there's a lot more to talk about here. The deer for many Mesoamerican cultures, is a symbol of service. It's a symbol of that entity that is an essential part of the natural cycle that gives himself as sacrifice. Somebody mentioned sacrifice here, and I like that, the fact that you actually did that. And you touched, and now I think I'm getting there now, Jeshua, where what you were trying to express. Deer has that. It is the symbol of that. It's the symbol of that part where you sacrifice something and you put yourself to the service. And this is a lesson for all of them, for all of us. We all have to do all the destinies of all the signs. We all have to, like, I mean, if your sign is one destiny, yes, you're going to have that bigger. But if you want to grow plentifully, then I recommend you achieving the destiny of all the signs. So for this sign is incorporating the part of service. And it's that part of the universe that says, of life, that says, like, volunteering, right? It's an important part. In all the Mesoamerican civilizations, the big ones that were destroyed, that still they cannot rebuild and come back to life, because hopefully that's in process, and it will happen, but it's not here yet. Hence, it's not here. So we have Mesoamerican cultures, traits, peoples, but we don't have the civilization as such. Okay. The civilizations, when they did exist, they had, and I guess I'm totally wrong with what I'm saying now, because in some places they still keep this trait of a civilization, which is the tequio, which is the communal work. Okay, you have to service others at some point. It cannot just all be about yourself, right? This is a natural consciousness that comes into your life and nature if you have kids. When you have kids, you realize, oh, damn it. Yeah, life is not about feeding me. It's about feeding others, right? But it goes even beyond that. And this is a key thing to remember for ancestral teaching, for native teaching, that is just not bound by this, not only bound, it's not about this course, it's way beyond this course, is we have to have the consciousness to live our lives thinking about the next 7 generations and thinking about the whole community. The whole community is not just human, it's animal, it's plants, is being, is mountain, is river, is sky, is water. So you do need to make your life a mission where you are seeing for the next 7 generations, not just your family, because that's where many people draw their comfort zone line, right? Oh, I'm doing this for my family. And that is not enough. You need to give even more, not just your family. You have to give to the community. And we're going to see a lot more of that in the Kawok sign. But then the deer already maybe creates a gathering, the space where we can actually speak about this. So we have 5 minutes, and we're going to use them every single second to finish this. Guardian of nature, I was talking about the animal and how the animal reflects the nature of the person. So, and I was talking about the service. So deer then is the animal that gives himself to the hunter as a sacred offering, right? Sometimes we have to do that. The Keej sign will have a lot more of that to do in this lifetime. And man, deers are such beautiful creatures that they actually will give themselves to the hunter. Their soul is already connected and given to the hunter when they're being hunted in a sacred manner. It's like that. I've seen it. I've eaten deers hunted in this way by means of bow and arrow and by means of ritual. And it's medicine. It's not food. It's medicine. So that's what this sign also represents. And this is the animal and that represents the jicurí, which is also called the venadito, the little deer, which is the peyote of the desert. And for the Wixárika, which is a Toltec native nation or culture or language, or people that are connected by culture and language, the deer represents this spirit that they connect to every year, which is the jicurí. They don't like to call it peyote or peyote, it's jicurí. But then it is to say that some of these plants, like the tobacco I was talking about, that grows outside of your home, that seeks humans, that, you know, it's not growing anywhere. As soon as there's a new human, a new home, I'm here for you. It's coming to service us. It's coming to heal us. And you'll find this language in the plants and in nature. You'll find that nature is reaching out to heal you if you allow yourself to come into this level of communication. And that's the symbol of the deer here. That's what it represents. That service attitude, that service spirit that is coming to heal you and healing. And then another big, huge symbol, the hand. The hand is a huge symbol. The hand is the gateway. The hand has all the powers, all the gestures, all the language, all the power. It is the representation of the soul. It's the gateway to the soul, the hand. And that's why it's a hand symbol. Keej conceives in Kawok the storm, the energy, a lot of energy that then is channeled into searching to be like an eagle, to be clean, to be above, to be high, to be visionary, to create, to make happen. It comes from chaos. Kawok is chaos, but it's the abundance of energy, the catalyzation of energy. He was like that when he's young, youth. Remember that the sign up here represents also how you kind of experience your youth or your infancy. So for Keej people, it might have been chaotic, might have been kind of stormy, very stormy. But then their life then is to fix that, and they want to be an eagle. They want to be a creator. They want to be a visionary. They have the emosh, the power of the sea of essence in their hands, and one of the powers, and the power of the ach, of the Lord, of what is correct, what is moral, what is elevated, what is, and there's a sense of purism in that, but he brings that into balance. It balances out, of course, with the emosh, which is the crocodile is very dirty, right? Very different from the ach. So he balances all that. He balances very, very like different, like the storm, chaotic, from eagle, which is very sharp and focused. The family here, the family of all the nice, beautiful loved ones, the earth, the wind we already saw, the deer, and the human. These are the ones that everybody likes. And with this, we are done with the Keej, the deer.
Kayo,